In this video, I'm going to take you on a journey into the Libra full moon happening on April 12th. Before you go skipping ahead, I'm gonna need you to listen up, okay? And watch the first half of this video, like always. Thank you. Thank me later. This Libra full moon, I feel like I've cracked codes with this bad boy, okay? Number one, I'm a Libra sun, in case you didn't know. Hi, welcome. Number two, this full moon is happening right on top of my sun, boo, okay? So I'm feeling this. Need I say more? So like I said, in this video, we are going to go on a journey through understanding these astrological transits and what they mean for this Libra full moon, things that will just crack your big, beautiful mind wide open and make you see things in a whole different way. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this because I have so many powerful things I want to share with you. I feel like this full moon is so big, you guys. This full moon is kind of like a turning point in the month of April. If we're just looking at the month of April, this full moon is a huge turning point for the month. After this full moon, everything is changing. You're about to go through the final big bang of a transformation of the last few months. This whole year so far, we've been on a journey, right? And there is one final big bang of a transformation happening before we are entering into a brand new era. This full moon marks kind of the last full big bang moment that we need before the big bang of the initiation happens into a whole new era, a whole new life, okay? I really think that these next few weeks are going to be powerful for so many people. So I need you to listen up, all right? Get comfy. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about this Libra full moon, what it means, why it's important, what to do with this information, and how to change your life with this information. Alrighty, let's go. Alrighty, as you can see here, we have a full moon in the sign of Libra. Alrighty, so number one, this is basically... if I could just theme up, just completely give you the theme of this full moon, it is basically like the Notebook scene where the guy is like, what do you want? And he's like, what do you want? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, God damn it, what do you want? And that is literally this full moon. That is what this full moon is saying to you, along with many more things that we're going to get into. This is like that scene, right? We have a full moon meaning that the moon is opposite of the sun here in Aries. Basically, that means that the moon is reflecting the sun's light back to it because it's opposite of it. And the moon is showing us something that has been hidden from us, right? It is a peak moment, a culmination of emotions where we are realizing something is being revealed to us here. Full moon is where we finally get real with ourselves and others about what we want, our truths, to sum this up in a lot of ways. Why is that? Libra is really at its core about giving up some of its own perspective or biases or self-will to allow there to be balance, right? To keep the peace, because at its core, Libra is ruled by Venus, right? And so it's very much about peace, fairness. It is about social etiquette. It is about the art of relationships, right? It's about the heart and mind balance. There's a way to go about something that is more classy, that is more graceful. Libra is the mirror of the zodiac. I always say during Libra season, Libra is like a fun house of mirrors where every single mirror that you look at is reflecting something right back to you. So it's the art of projection, the art of relating, the social mask that we can sometimes wear to the world, and the charm and the grace, the diplomacy, right? Finding the middle ground between two opposites, seeing another side, seeing an opposite perspective. Another way that I would love to kind of describe this for you goes back to an Instagram post that I wrote years ago. And I said at some point I got to a place where left was right and right was left, where wrong was right and right was wrong, where every single thing was both at the same time. It was like being in the middle of a compass, seeing all sides to everything, south arguing with north, east arguing with west, and even oppositions in between. And then I realized that every wrong thing in my life led to something amazing, and every right thing in my life led to something destructive eventually. When I truly came to grasp this, I was set free. I was set free of the constant hamster wheel, but also I am able to see why there must be a hamster wheel in the first place, and I'm able to respect it. That is the beauty and the art of Libra. Finding the middle ground in everything, finding the balance in everything, seeing that two perspectives actually may have more than in common, even though they're very opposite perspectives, then they may think. It's finding that middle ground, bridging the gaps. Usually around this time of year when we have Libra full moons, a lot of the times the Libra full moons tend to bring a sense of harmony, balance, mediation, fairness, peace, and closure to situations that have been tensed, right? To conflicts that have been coming up in our lives over and over again. There's been kind of an escalating, whether it's been internal or external. I think that the Libra full moon and Libra full moons in general are about balancing that out, that heart and mind finding balance. So I know like past Libra full moons, for instance, I'm pretty sure it may have been the Libra full moon in like 2020, may have been 2021 when COVID was happening, right? I know right around the Libra full moon, I think was when they passed maybe like the first set of stimulus checks, and which created kind of this balance. And also, I know that like there was a Libra full moon one time and I was like fighting with my child's other parent, and it was like getting really tense and it had been escalating for months, and the Libra full moon came around and we were finally able to solve things peacefully. We were finally able to find a middle ground. And in my heart and my head were in between two different places at that time, because it was like my heart wanted to do something and my head wanted to do something else. And there, and so it was like I was able to find that balance to where they could both coexist. I was able to find that equilibrium. Libra, like I said, is a mirror. It is the art of relating. It is the art of relationships, the grace, the charm, the diplomacy. But also, it can sometimes be subtle self-abandonment on the shadow side. All the ways that we keep ourselves smaller to keep things nice, right? Or to keep the peace, or to not rock the boat, or to keep everybody around us happy, to people please. And so I believe that this full moon in a way is like a disorientation that happens when there's so many different core identities and relational patterns that are up for deep revision at once. Why do I think that? Well, because on the other end of this Libra full moon, we have the sun with Chiron. And in Aries, the sign about the self, the sign about the identity, the sign about independence. We've been going over Aries a lot these last several weeks now. At the heart of this lunation, it's like, who am I in relation to you? And what have I given up to maintain peace in my life or peace in other people's lives? In a lot of ways, we are being shown where we've kind of twisted ourselves to fit into relationships, or to avoid conflict, or to maintain a version of peace that actually cost us our authenticity, therefore end up being not peaceful, right? So Libra at its core is really about, equilibrium through contrast. We need the contrast to be able to see the difference, right? Like we need dark to be able to know light, and we need light to be able to know dark, right? We need to have opposition and contrast in our lives, or else we wouldn't recognize the other. For every one thing, the opposite must exist. Libra, on the higher side, seeks peace by not ignoring conflict, but by learning how to negotiate difference without losing the self. 2 Octobers ago, on the Libra solar eclipse, which was right around where this full moon is happening, actually, because it was right near my sun as well, on that Libra solar eclipse, I had a hell of an awakening. I ended up kind of seeing like the true Libran archetype, like not the soft, passive, version, but like the divine archetype of Libra. It was like almost like a god in a way, but it was a Libra, right? So it was like in like these white and gray robes, and it had like a sword in one hand. And I really realized in that experience, like what Libra was truly about, and the beauty and the class of, the Libra energy. And really, I realized that in the highest frequency, it was truth. It was coming to the truth of your heart, right? The balance of your heart and your head. And I realized that like peace wasn't achieved through silence. It was achieved through honesty and knowing oneself. And that is what this full moon is bringing to light in so many ways. This full moon kind of illuminates this negotiation between the sun and Chiron and Aries, bringing up some kind of wounded sense of identity, some kind of wounded sense of self, and the moon in Libra, the internal emotions that we are trying to balance out, the internal feelings of others and self and identity that we are trying to sort through. So, we have this, Sun in Aries conjunct Chiron, which is kind of raw and vulnerable and irritated and potentially unhealed, right? Aries wants freedom. Aries wants freedom and the right to exist without compromise. And Chiron in Aries says, well, I've been shamed or wounded before simply for just being me. I've not been able to just go throughout the world and take up space and be seen for who I am for some reason or another, or I've had to prove myself or, prove myself worthy in some way. So this full moon is really shining a light on these different topics, on how we've kind of adapted to or edited ourselves in relationships or around others, or, been kind of falling into a projection of ourselves created by what we think others think about us to feel safe, desirable, or lovable. And while the Aries sun is like, but what has this costed us? What has this costed our sense of authenticity? So the other side of this is looking at Venus, because Venus rules this full moon in Libra. And Venus is here in Pisces conjunct Saturn, moving direct literally an hour or two after this Libra full moon. Venus has been retrograding for the last month and a half now. She's finally moving forward. She's finally moving direct right on this Libra full moon, a full moon happening in her sign. That is not a coincidence. And she's moving direct on Saturn, which is exalted in the sign of Libra. Why? Because Libra is about finding peace in opposition. Saturn is about opposition. Okay, Libra has a sense of justice to it, fairness, making sure everything's balanced out, like a judge is supposed to be impartial, biased, etc. And I find myself, when people bring something up to me, like a lot of the times, even when it's somewhat like negative, I will look at myself. I'm able to look at myself and be self-aware enough and detach my own emotions and stuff from it and look at myself and really reflect on it. And I think that is kind of the beauty of Libra. It's not getting lost in the biases and the emotions and all of that. It's actually looking at things from a more objective place with wisdom, intelligence, and heart. Venus is conjunct Saturn and Pisces, and Venus is the ruler of this full moon happening in Libra. So this full moon is playing out through Venus conjunct Saturn and Pisces, and Venus turning direct. And so this is so interesting because Venus in Pisces is about mystical love, surrender, compassion, spiritual beauty. And Saturn sitting there with her while she stations direct kind of adds a sense of karmic weight to this, karmic depth to this. So it's almost like we are waking up from a dream or an illusion about love, worth, relationships, beauty, commitments, karmic patterns, social dynamics, or even we're waking up from a pattern of escapism and fantasy that helped us survive, but now has expired. This Venus-Saturn conjunction with Venus still retrograde, but going direct right around this full moon feels like something is expiring. It feels like something is no more. This feels very karmic. This could be old contracts, old soul karmic contracts, old patterns, old mask. There's like a sense of release here and a sense of coming to some kind of healing with something, like finally letting something go, finally healing something. And it comes through some kind of realization or some kind of truth and clarity that we didn't have before, that we couldn't see clearly before. So this isn't just about like letting go. It's about forgiving ourselves for what we endured and the ways that we kind of bent ourselves to survive. Venus stationing direct, I really think, is telling us loud and clearly that it's time to choose something different. It is time to choose something that is rooted in some kind of soul truth and no longer illusion or nostalgia or longing or something that, we had in the past or that worked in the past, but is no longer now, is no longer aligned with our now. This also reminds me of a psychedelic ceremony experience I had last year where I realized that I was like the mastermind behind every single lesson in my life, and I was able to see all of the experiences that I've went through and all of the hard, shitty things that I once felt victimized by. I was able to see that I designed it that way. It was me that designed it that way to teach myself specific lessons that I would not have learned if I wouldn't have made the decisions and choices I made and been in the situations I had been in, right? So it's like we have designed our life to teach us through relationships, to teach us through other people, which is so Libran. We have designed our lives to teach us through how other people see us, how we see others, how other people treat us, how we treat others, how we allow ourselves to be treated, right? The situations that we are attracted to, the situations that we find comfort and safety and solace in, the situations that teach us more about who we are as people and how we stand by our principles, our truths, our values. And so we have designed our lives to teach us through relationships and through these soul contracts that we get into. And this feels very Venus Saturn to me. And so I think that a lot of us could be noticing these things coming up right now. It's like we're closing out an era of old lessons right now to do with relationships and what we truly want and what we truly value. And it's like we've finally learned something fully and it's time to let it go. And so it's almost like this is some kind of karmic checkpoint, like a reckoning in love, value, and worth. And where we've not been, seeing our worth or treating ourselves in the way that we need to be treated or in the experiences that we truly desire to be in, because we've been trying to keep the peace or we've been wearing a mask that isn't who we really are. We've been holding in our truth in some way. Okay, like that's what this feels like right now. It feels like a release, like clarity, like loss, like finality, but also kind of like relief, like an exhale after like holding your breath too long or something, right? And so I feel like we're, with Venus and Saturn is a boundary. It's the last planet you can see with the naked eye. It was the last planet that we knew about for a long time. So Saturn kind of rules what's on the other side of this boundary of the known and the unknown, a threshold. Venus coming up with Saturn, going direct on Saturn, and kind of moving with Saturn through Pisces after this is almost like we are crossing a threshold that that's needed in some way, shape, or form. And we are recommitting to our own truth, our own sense of soul cosmic truth in relationships with our values, with the lives that we want to create from here on out. I mean, this is really big. A Venus retrograde, right? Starts in Aries, goes back into Pisces, goes across the North Node, Neptune before it moves into Aries, Mercury retrogrades right behind it, Venus then conjunct Saturn, starts to go direct right as we have a Libra full moon in her sign. This Venus retrograde is such a karmic freaking experience, a psychedelic karmic healing experience where we are walking away from karmic ties, karmic stuff that has held us back for too long. And that's why this feels like an exhale, like a relief. So we are crossing some kind of threshold. And this is the point where we either recommit to the truth of who you are and who you know yourself to be, the truth of your values, the truth of what you want, the truth in your relationships with other people, the truth of who you are. Or, oh my God, my storage keeps interrupting me. Getting like so aggravated. Okay. Balance, peace. Okay. Anyways, so what I was saying is we either are recommitting to truth and relationships, values, what we desire, who we are, who we know ourselves to be, or we are walking the F away. We are moving the F on, okay? And either way, we don't have to go back to the abandonment of who we are, the abandonment of our identity, the abandonment of truth, the abandonment of our values, our self-worth, and our true soul desires. It's like we are remembering what our soul is here to do with all this Pisces energy, right? We are remembering the soul, the soul mission, the spiritual essence of who we are. Like I said, like in a past like psychedelic ceremony I had for healing, I realized that I was the mastermind in my life. Like I created specific relationship situations, 4 lessons and challenges that all taught me something, that were all designed to teach me how to fully be myself in relationships and teach me about what I wanted and who I was, and not to abandon who I am and what I value and what I want for the sake of another person, but to bring my full self into love, right? And that's what so much of this is kind of leading towards, being our full selves. not being scared to take up space, coming back to our power. And that's been such a core theme lately anyway. Voice, especially with this Libra full moon, I think voice has been a major theme that I've been seeing lately. Visibility, shedding the people pleasing, saying what's real and letting go of performing, right? So this full moon is really asking us, where have we stayed on the fence? Where are you still wearing a mask to stay safe? And it's not about choosing others or even yourself. It's about truth. It's about choosing the truth, the balance between the heart and mind, and that is where you find your truth. So the other thing with this full moon that is so important to talk about is that, like I said, this full moon, is obviously opposing the sun and Chiron in Aries, and it's also squaring Mars and Cancer at the last degrees here, and Mars rules Aries, right? So where the sun is at, right? So this full moon brings Mars into the mixture as well, and Mars is getting ready to move into Leo, where it will finish its opposition that it started with Pluto back at the end of last year. I talked about this extensively in my April horoscopes video, okay? And so this is kind of the intensity that we are building up to. It's the undercurrent of the emotional reactivity, anger, fear, protection that we've been dealing with, that's kind of underneath a lot of these transits that have been happening, because Mars in Cancer wants to be safe, right? It is about safety and security, emotional safety and security. But it's at these very last degrees of Cancer, it's kind of like this last emotional buildup before it enters the sign of Leo, where it becomes a lot more visible and able to be more seen, right? And so Mars squaring this full moon adds a level of intensity to it and a level of friction to it, emotional impulses that are clashing with the fair relational dynamics of Libra. So we may feel kind of pulled to react, defend, or shut down, or kind of throw a temper tantrum or something, for some of us. But the deeper story here really is what unresolved emotional shit is dictating how we fight, flee, or freeze in relationships, and with the truth that we are now realizing and with the decisions that truth is bringing. And if you're still with me, comment down below OG badass, because I appreciate you. And so what's interesting about this is that Mars is getting ready to rule or move into Leo, right? And Mars rules a lot of these Aries transits that we've been going through, including the sun in Aries right now conjunct Chiron, right? And so a lot of this, I think there's a pattern here that's emerging with this fire energy, and plus the sun and Chiron conjunct for this full moon. It's kind of bringing up this core wound, or wanting to heal this core wound of am I allowed to exist fully as myself? Am I allowed to be myself and be seen and take up space and be who I am authentically, right? And Mars, the ruler of this Aries sun, being at the end of Cancer, this final moment of emotional releasing before stepping into Leo, where the fire becomes visionable or visible and more actionable, taken we take action on the things that we've just learned. So it's we're getting ready to enter a space where we're no longer content to just sit around and feel things. It's we must act, we must express, we must take up space, right? And with the Pluto opposition that it's forming and going to form into, that starts building after this full moon, this is kind of the climax, right? The final confrontation. There's been some kind of confrontation with the shadow side of things, the power dynamics of visibility, control, approval, and the resistance to authentic self-expression. So with this Mars-Pluto opposition building, it's what unconscious power dynamics are ready to be exposed or transformed or ended in some way. So with this whole freaking story, it's you're not just being asked to reclaim your voice, you're being asked to wield it. You're being asked to embody it. Not just to see yourself, but to allow yourself to be seen. That's the bigger story here of what we're moving into, right? Not to just name the truth, but to live it. Okay, so the bigger picture really here is that this Libra full moon is not just about relationships, although that is a big component that you may see in your life to some degree. It's really about liberating ourselves from the ghost of the past and old agreements, even agreements that we made silently, right? Old commitments that we made to ourselves where we felt like we didn't achieve what we wanted to, or unconscious agreements, that we've even made to keep the peace, to keep things balanced in our lives, or to earn love or approval from others, to survive, because it's ingrained in our survival with Mars and Cancer. We've been living in some kind of imbalance that this Libra full moon is coming up to address, and it's showing us the truth. It's a chance to harmonize things in our lives, to kind of show you that, like, hey, you don't have to do this anymore. This is not your truth, and this is not who you are. And because Libra is also very much about decisions, and it's also often accused of being indecisive and flaky and all of that. I think the real task is like, what truth are you willing to stand behind? It's like, get off the fence. Pick what you know in your heart is true, regardless of what others think about it. Pick the path and stand in your knowing. Because this is about seeing where we've minimized ourselves, where we've overcompensated, avoided, or edited ourselves to be more likable or to fit into certain situations. And, it's also about seeing that we can reclaim our truth without needing to fight or collapse, right? We can just embody our truth and find that balance between the heart and the mind. It's about rebalancing the self and other in our lives, being able to relate and know who we are, but also not needing others to change to accommodate who we are. It's about finding the middle ground and finding the similarities rather than only focusing on the opposites. And it's about a releasing of old karmic weight with the Venus-Saturn conjunction. And like I said, it's showing us where we've been maybe pretending or performing in our lives, right? And so in a way, it's also about kind of releasing a mask that we've grown attached to wearing, right? Releasing or dismantling the false self that we've been embodying in some way. So, and it's not only just about like speaking your truth and owning your truth. It's about, again, because truth really comes from the balance of the heart and mind. And when the heart has been activated, it comes through our truth. It comes through our voice, right? And so when we speak truth, we are able to do it gracefully. We are able to do it in a classy way because it is coming from the heart, in a way that helps others to understand, rather than completely is just like, well, I think you're a bitch, like that's not coming from the heart, right? It may be what you're thinking, but it may actually not be the true internal truth, right? Your true, honest truth, right? Like that's a deeper thing that is coming from your heart and your mind at once, where they collide and become balanced. So again, this is about ending karmic ties and patterns and, ending identity and relationship conflicts with some kind of peace that balances the scales. It's like, you know what? I've been fighting so freaking hardcore with this thing that's been going on forever, and I'm ready to just walk away. I don't care if I'm right. I don't care if I win something for walking away. I don't care if I lose something for walking away. Like maybe both people lose out, but at least it's fair. Or maybe both people win, at least it's fair, right? It's like this karmic, cosmic point that we are reaching with this full moon that is cosmically and spiritually balancing something within ourselves and within our lives that is so, so important. And then as we step into the Mars-Pluto opposition, the question really becomes, can I hold this truth and the power of my truth without fear of rejection, destruction, or exile, right? Because that's what we are going towards. That's the bigger picture that we are headed towards with this Mars-Pluto opposition. And it's the final mask that we're kind of shedding. And then again, for some people, this could just be that, like, some kind of, it may not be this deep for some people. For some people, it could just be the Libra full moon acts like a normal Libra full moon, comes in, you realize that you need to make a decision. Maybe it is a hard decision, but it adds more peace to your life, right? Or maybe there is a middle ground that is found in a conflict or a situation or a confrontation or something that's been stressing you out, that finally a middle ground is found, or you see it from a new perspective and it helps you finally move forward and put this situation to rest and find peace, right? So again, those are the different ways I think this Libra full moon is playing out. Let me know down below. Did you stay this far? Comment down below, badass alien, if you did. I appreciate you so much. I will be talking about my own personal revelations from this Libra full moon as it builds. I'm filming this. I'm still a few days away when I'm filming this. So I will be telling you about my own personal experience with it and what comes to me about it. When it happens, I'm going to be doing a ritual for it. It's going to be a little mirror ritual. So I will let you guys know and keep you updated on that in next week's weekly video, which you're not going to want to miss. Okay. So be looking out for that. Let me know down below how this resonated with you. If anything I said in this video resonated with you so far, I'd love to hear your feedback. I really have put a lot of thought, time, and reflection into what I wanted to say for this video because I feel like something really big is brewing, and we're getting so many different puzzle pieces, but the whole puzzle isn't connected just yet. And I feel like the puzzle will be fully connected by the time we get out of April and ending the second half of April. But right now it's like, well, there's something else that we have to balance out here, or let go here, or cut ties with, or find a middle ground with, or find peace with in some way before we can move on to this Mars-Pluto opposition, really face whatever this power struggle is again, face whatever this fear is or issue is or problem is, or whatever the case may be, whatever this opposition brought up for you at the end of last year and beginning of this year, once and for all, because that's what's going to transmute us and change us into completely different people and lives. I swear, like, I really think so many people are going to be feeling full speed ahead by the time April ends. We will have faced something that may have had power over us, or that may have scared us, or that may have, been dark, creepy, intense, hidden, scary, whatever, once and for all, and triumphed, right? And that creates such a inner transformation that can't be, broken, right? And so it's going to be really crazy. I can't wait to talk about it. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into what this Libra full moon means for your rising sign. I love you guys, and there you go. Alrighty, Libra risings. Hello, my beautiful darlings, and welcome to your horoscope for this Libra full moon. If you missed the beginning, boo, you want to go back and watch, because I probably just told your life story. I know I just told mine as like a Libra sun over here, okay? So anyways, if your rising is anywhere between, I would say maybe like 20 to 25, 26 degrees, you are going to be feeling this full moon, okay? It's going to be a lot. It's going to be emotional. There's going to be a lot coming out of you that you were maybe not even expecting or aware of. And that is the point of a full moon. It brings to light and reveals what is going on the inside so it can come out, so it can be fully realized and transmuted. There is something going on here that is building, and that may feel like a culmination in your life with this full moon. Something coming up to do with how you are really feeling, how to balance out your feelings, balance out your mind and your heart, and maybe deal with some touchy, raw, vulnerable, wounded situations in terms of relationships in your life and other people in your life, and projections regarding relationships and other people. And, it's like maybe you've been very, very focused on relationships or other people or a certain person in your life, your partner maybe, and they've been going through some things and that's been the focus, or you've just even been focused on how other people see you a lot. Maybe you've been focused on your external world to some degree and how others see you, and, putting on, this persona or whatever, because of how you think other people see you. And this Libra full moon comes in and is like, wait, there's more to you. There's more to this. There's deeper stuff that needs to be revealed here. This is where you start focusing on you. It's like you get back to who you are and rebalance things out. You find the balance between the mind and heart. You find the balance to maybe situations that that you've been having like conflict with, or that have been tense. You find a new perspective to look through for certain situations, and maybe you mend some internal conflicts that have been going on within you. This full moon also speaks to something going on with your work, health, day-to-day routine, and wellness in some degree, with Venus being going direct right around this full moon on top of Saturn. Okay, and so this has been a very karmic time where you are really reflecting on what maybe you're doing in your day-to-day life, how you're taking care of yourself, the job that you have, the health routine that you have, maybe the diet that you have, the wellness routines that you have are really in alignment with who you are, or if you're really committing to them in the way that you feel you want to be, right? If you're really maybe not committing to things because it's really not what you want. Again, Venus is about what your heart and soul truly desires. Saturn is about hard decisions, hard lines in the sand, getting off the fence, commitments. So where are these kind of things coming up for you in your life lately, where it's like you've realized that maybe you've been doing a lot of things that you really don't want to be doing, or that don't really align with some kind of soul, deeper truth or your identity, right? A lot of things about the body, appearance, style, with the 6th and 1st house activated here as well. Beauty, right? And so this is like doing the deeper work that it can also be physical, but also internal, changes the results, and a culmination point is had in terms of how you see yourself, rather than worrying about how others see you. Okay. And so this is very, very big here. It's like, what karmic situations need to end or are unraveling, or it's like they are kind of slipping away. There's just a lot going on here in terms of your health, body, wellness, relationships with other people as well. And with this full moon squaring Mars in Cancer in your 10th house, this is like maybe you have been kind of playing a lot of different sides in your life, right? Maybe you've been playing the role, or wearing like a lot of different hats, I should say, right? Like maybe you've been playing a certain role when it comes to your career and your public image, playing a certain role in your relationships, feeling like, you're playing a certain role at work or whatever. And this full moon's coming in to say, hey, I know I've said this to you a lot lately as well, Libras, but if you avoid conflict externally, you create it internally. And that's basically what this full moon is about. Where have you been seeking validation and approval from others? Where have you not owned your truth because you've been afraid of rocking the boat or starting conflict, because it's been easier to keep the peace? But how peaceful is it really if you have this constant internal discomfort and nagging at you for not really being aligned and true to who you are? So this is a massive reflection on who you are, what your truth is, the internal imbalances that have been going on with you, health, wellness, body, appearance, beauty, career, public image, and reputation and relationships, right? And I think it's like putting pressure on you where you've had to put a lot of your energy towards other people or towards relationships or towards your career. And this full moon is kind of like a relief where, yes, you may have to own something in a gracious and poised and classy way, as you will, because you're a Libra rising. And yes, it may upset other people, or yes, it may cause some changes in your career or with reputation or with relationships or whatever. But it's like, you need to do this for you. On the other hand, for some of you, this could be you realizing, and I've had this revelation before as a Libra sun, that compromising and being focused on others is not necessarily a weakness. It's about holding your truth and still being a whole person and not compromising who you are, right? While you hold other perspectives as well, right? And so it's really bringing up these topics and themes of compromising and agreeing and consideration, where there's been an extreme of that, right? Or where you've maybe felt a weakness in that, right? That needs to be resolved. And so that is what this full moon is about for you. If you're a Libra rising, let me know down below, Libra risings, if that resonated. Comment down below, sexy Libra rising. And if you missed the first half of this video, boo, you're not going to want to miss this one, especially because we talked a lot about you. Okay, so definitely go back and watch it. You can thank me later. And with that being said, we're going to move on to Scorpio risings. Scorpio risings, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. So this full moon is bringing to light and revealing to you the hidden subconscious ways, patterns, addictions, cycles that deal with relationships, compromising, being agreeable, kind of hiding certain things from the world, hiding certain things even from yourself. This full moon can bring a lot of activity in terms of your dreams and can be a really, really good full moon to meditate and go within, right? That's where you may find a lot more answers here. It's like you may have been focused on a certain wound or certain issues or subjects or situations regarding your body, health, wellness, job, and, healing in certain areas, especially with identity and what you believe and freedom, right? With the sun moving through Aries conjunct Chiron in your 6th house, there's been a lot of energy that you've maybe been putting into those 6th house areas of work, job, health, wellness, routines, healing in some way, shape, or form. And this Libra full moon is coming in to say, hey, number one, you don't got to do this alone. Number two, where have you maybe been imbalanced internally and subconsciously and with things that you've been putting off or avoiding or hiding in some way that are the key to getting the results that you want in your day-to-day life or with your work, health, day-to-day routines, job, wellness, etc. Right? So like the way that I see it, sorry, it feels like something in my eye, but the way that I see it is that like you could be having trying to exercise more, get back into some kind of physical activity for your health or body, right? But then you feel you start going to the gym and it triggers these Chiron wounds or something where it triggers these insecurities. And maybe you go to the gym and somebody that looked like they started on the same time as you is getting better results than you are, right? So it brings up these and I'm just using this as a metaphor, not saying this is exactly what's happening for all of you, but it's then you start realizing oh, see, this always happens. People always beat me. They're always faster than me. They always get results better than me. I should just give up, right? And this Libra full moon is coming in to say, hey, stop comparing yourself to others. Number one, you have this subconscious urge to do that. Stop trying to get your results or compare your journey in the same time as others or in the same way as others because you're not like others and that there's a beauty to that, okay? And you don't have to, maybe this is all happening in the first place because you're more worried about what others think or there's some kind of social, insecurity or deeper subconscious pattern here that's being revealed. Okay, and the ruler of this full moon, Venus, is conjunct Saturn in your 5th house. So could also be bringing up relationships, your love life, love and romance, sexuality, your passions, what you really want, desire, and find pleasure in. This is a turning point for those things right now. This is okay, you're kind of crossing a threshold. Something old is expiring. And this full moon is kind of the end of something, the closing out period, a closure. A period of closure in your life where you've had to get really, really, really strong in what you believe with Mars moving through Cancer in your 9th house and on what you want out of life and how you see the world and your vision for your future, your mission, etc. And deal with past conflicts or deal with old tensions, especially with family and, where you feel home is and things like that. And Mars is getting ready to move back into Leo and the 10th, where it's it's time to own who you are and be seen and stop worrying about rejection because of the past. So I think a lot of this is bringing in social dynamics and social subconscious patterns that need to be faced. They're coming up for a reason. Things to do in your love life, maybe things that you've been attracted to that you're starting to realize no longer are attractive to you. It's like, oh, I used to be kind of attracted to this type of person and now I'm really not. Like, that's expiring. That's going away. I used to really be attracted to relationships like this and now I'm not. Or I used to really desire this and want this in my love life and all of that, and now I'm kind of deciding on, something different, right? So these are the different areas and ways that you could see this coming up, Scorpio risings. Let me know down below how you are noticing it come up. I really, really love to hear what you guys are noticing with this one. And also comment down below sexy Scorpio rising, because you are boo. And we are moving on to Sag rising. So for Sagittarius risings, this Libra full moon is happening in your 11th house. So this could be bringing up a lot of themes to do with the people in your life, the aspirations in your life, where you feel you belong, the different groups, organizations, like-minded communities and places that you feel you belong in. This could also be acquaintances and, the different groups that you're into online or on social media, or, if your career involves working with groups of people or big, conglomerates of people, this could be that as well. There's marketing, networking, all of those types of things, right? And really just the social dynamics and the social politics and the social, kind of imbalances. This is what this Libra full moon could be bringing up, right? So with the sun in Aries conjunct Chiron in your 5th, this could be really, at this full moon, you could feel a little bit tender, could feel a little bit raw. There could be some vulnerabilities or some vulnerable situations coming up to do with you, or to do with your love life, or to do with children, or to do with your own inner child. And the full moon in Libra could be like, okay, so I'm going to give you a situation that's like coming to me very, very, very clearly. And this may not be the situation for all of you, but just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I feel like some of you could be like, you know what? I have this passion, right? I have this passion and I'm super ambitious about it. I kind of forgot about it. I kind of put it on the back burner for a while, had to go back through the retrogrades in Pisces and kind of remember it and remember and rebalance my home and family life. And now I'm really realizing that, like, I've wanted to do this since I was like a child and I'm so passionate about it and I want to do it, but this Libra full moon could be bringing up the but part, where it's like, but I'm scared of putting myself out there. I'm scared of what other people will think, or I'm looking online at the genre that I want and comparing myself to others because this person does it like this and this person does it like that, and I'm not that person and I'm not that person. Well, hell no, you're not that person, and good that you're not that person. That's what makes you different, right? That's what creates your own authentic brand, right? And so, or it could be like, oh, this person is reaching milestones before I am, or this person is doing better than me, or whatever. Like, because Aries can bring up this sense of like wanting to prove ourselves or be the best or be the first or whatever the case may be. And so the sun, Chiron, and Aries is kind of like a wound to our identity, or bringing up these different patterns of wounding to who we are that have happened over our lifetimes, and that, again, could connect to your inner child or even your own children, or your relationships, your love life, your romance life, or just your passions, right? And so this full moon in Libra is like, you could be comparing yourself to other people or seeing where you've compromised your own passions and all of that. Or it could even just be showing you like, hey, you don't have to do this on your own. You can ask for help, or there are other people that would be willing to lead you a hand to help balance out some of the tension or some of the responsibility or some of the stress that you're feeling around this. Okay? It could also deal with something to do with your family, your home life, your private life, with Venus being in your 4th house conjunct Saturn. Okay, it's like there is definitely something coming up there with commitments, boundaries, and relationships and family relationships, or with finances and with values and with the things that you want versus, maybe your spouse wants or your children want or whatever. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing for you, Sag risings. Let me know down below if that resonated at all and what you are noticing coming up for this full moon in Libra. I'd really love to hear how this is affecting you guys. And if you missed the beginning, you're missing out. Definitely go back and watch that. It's going to give you a lot more. Okay, promise you that. Comment down below, sexy Sag rising, if you watched until this point. I appreciate you guys. And we are going to move on to Capricorn risings. For Capricorn risings, this full moon is in your 10th house of your career, your reputation, your long-term goals, your achievements, and what you want out of life, your kind of personal brand to the world, right? And so this Libra full moon is coming in and really shining a light on something that needs to be balanced or harmonized, or a truth that is being revealed in terms of your career, your reputation, your long-term goals, etc., right? And so what I see with this is that there's been something going on related to, your home, your family, your personal life, your behind the scenes life, your private life, maybe even your past with all these Aries transits. There's been a lot of energy that has been focused there, where there are a lot of things that have been happening to do with that area of life. And this full moon is coming in, revealing something about your long-term goals and career now. It's like, okay, you've been focused on your private life and your foundation and your home life and your family for a while, but what about the goals? What about the career? What about the long-term achievements? And what's going on here? Was there maybe been a conflict with a boss or coworkers or whatever? And so now it's time to be like, okay, you know what? I need to balance this out. I need to harmonize this. I need to make peace with this. For some of you, this could be making peace with ending a certain career field and entering into something new, right? Especially with the Venus retrograde going direct on Saturn in your 3rd house, right? For some of you, maybe you started learning new skill sets or started focusing more on expressing yourself and your passions and all of that. And now it's like, I don't really know if this career is aligned with me anymore. And maybe it's time to tell the truth about that or accept the truth about that. For others of you, this could be just closing out a chapter in your career or with a long-term goal, or seeing where there's been certain patterns that are being illuminated around this time, or cycles or subconscious patterns being illuminated around wounds and insecurities to do with comparison and being kind of likable, or trying to keep the peace even when there is some kind of internal disagreements or conflict with what's happening. Trying to kind of wear the poker face, right? When really there's more going on the inside that you're having to hide, and that's making your career, your long-term goals, or whatever uncomfortable, right? And so there's a lot of that going around with this full moon. It's like, it's either balancing something out and finding peace with something, finding the middle ground with something, seeing the new perspective, gaining the clarity, and owning the truth about something, or it is, seeing where we have fell into old cycles of comparison and old cycles of being overly considerate and giving up our own sense of self-will or what we want or whatever for the sake of our career or long-term goals or our job or our boss or whatever the case may be, right? So these are the different things that you could possibly see coming up around this time as a Capricorn rising. Let me know down below, though, you guys, if any of that resonated and what you are noticing come up around this full moon. I'd love to hear your feedback. And also comment down below, sexy Capricorn rising, because you are boo. I appreciate you. And we're going to move on to Aquarius risings. Oh, and if you missed the beginning, you're missing out. Go back and watch it. Okay, Aquarius risings. This full moon for you guys is happening in your 9th house. And so this is definitely a full moon where you could see a lot coming up to do with what's going on a bigger scale, what's going on a bigger level. So this could be worldly events, national events, politics, also your belief systems, your place in the world, right? Your opinions about bigger picture things, bigger stuff, right? Kind of coming to peace with something that maybe has been irritating you about when it comes to your opinions, when it comes to your beliefs versus other people's beliefs, when it comes to certain oppositions in your life with the way that you think, your mindset, your worldviews, or your views on certain things in the world or in your life. This is like kind of adapting a more balanced point of view here, okay? Seeing the other side of something, waking up to a new perspective or a new truth that maybe you weren't aware of before, or even finding your own truth amidst all kinds of other people's opinions and, perspectives and sides, right? And so really the key here is to handle things with grace and to be able to be kind of, find that balance between your heart and your head and not get too in one extreme or the other, but to find the middle ground, right? And this tensity or these tensions and how you see things or opinions or whatever could also be affecting your work life or your day-to-day life in some way, or your health, wellness, and routines in some way, shape, or form. So it's like you have to find peace with this, or you have to find a world view that holds all of these things, or that holds this sense of peace as the kind of higher octave of it, that can hold all these different polarities, that can hold all these different oppositions, where you're not getting lost in the frustration and irritation of getting so attached to one side or the other. And this could come from a somewhat vulnerable, raw, wounding, experience that comes up with the sun on Chiron, where maybe you're feeling like let down, or you're feeling not listened to, or you're feeling not heard, or you are feeling tense to do with a situation in your life, and it's causing you to feel maybe somewhat vulnerable, etc., etc. And this full moon's coming in to say, hey, it's time to release this, and it's time to see the bigger picture here. It's time to find the bigger picture, the bigger vision that can hold these different polarities that you're dealing with, right? And so a lot of this could somehow be impacting you in terms of your priorities, your values, your finances, your resources, with Venus ruling this full moon and being conjunct Saturn in Pisces, and Venus finally moving direct right around the time of this full moon. So it's like reevaluating commitments, reevaluating your priorities, reevaluating your decisions, reevaluating your resources, your finances, and kind of maybe letting go of things that are no longer in alignment, or that are expiring in your life in some way, right? So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Aquarius risings. If you missed the beginning of this video, you're missing literally the biggest part of this video. Like that, the beginning of this video explains everything in such a detailed, holistic way that it will make so much more sense and add so much more depth to the astrology of this full moon for you. You're going to see it in way more ways if you listen to the beginning of this video. So just thank me later on that. Comment down below, sexy Aquarius rising, if you watched until this point. And we're going to move on to Pisces risings. So for Pisces risings, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, okay? And so this full moon, the Libra full moon in your 8th, is kind of like really bringing to your attention where something needs to be balanced out or harmonized in terms of other people, your relationships, and what you owe others or what they owe you, and the social dynamics, karmic debts, and imbalances, energetic imbalances in your life to do with other people. That is what this full moon is really, really bringing to light at this time. It's like, hey, look, you've been doing things your way. Maybe you've felt more alone recently. Maybe you've been like, you know what, I'm going to handle this on my own, or I'm going to deal with this on my own, or all I can count on is me, boo. Like, I'm going to make these decisions and keep the ball rolling, right? Especially with all this Aries energy in your 2nd, and then all the energy, all the transits moving through your 1st. This Libra full moon's coming in to say, hey, maybe you don't have to do it all by yourself, right? So this could be help that you get from an outside place or source, or something that comes in that rebalances your life, your financial life, your energetic life, anything that you have, right, in this life. It's like something comes in and kind of balances it, right? And it's like, okay, we're making up for the imbalance in some way. That's what this full moon is really doing. For some of you, this could be driven by you, though. It could be that maybe you realize that a certain relationship or a certain partnership or a certain financial situation with somebody else needs to expire and needs to change. And so you let go of that, that situation. So like that could be another way that it plays out. But either way, it deals with kind of the coming and going and the giving and receiving of other people in your life and how you interact with that. Okay, like that's pretty much what this is all about. And really asking you, getting clear with Venus moving direct in your sign, pretty much conjunct Saturn, on what do you really truly want? What is what feels intuitively right and good for you? Are you giving yourself the same compassion that you're giving others? What do you want to commit to long term? What decisions do you want to make? Right? This is the time to kind of pick something and get off the fence and, figure out what your own soul truth is. And I think that you'll find that things balance out nicely and harmonize nicely when you do. So let me know down below, Pisces risings, if that resonated for you guys and what you are seeing come up with this full moon in Libra. I'd love to hear your feedback. Comment down below, sexy Pisces rising. Also, if you missed the beginning, it's going to give you way, 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 way more coverage on this full moon and what to expect. And you'll relate to a lot of it. I'm sure you'll see a lot of it happening in your life with you and the world, all of that. So definitely go back and watch the first half if you skipped ahead. And with that being said, we're going to move on to Aries. Alrighty, Aries risings. This is a big full moon for you happening in your 7th house. This could be a time where you are finally coming into some kind of agreement or middle ground or peace in a relationship or with another person or with some kind of outside situation that you've been dealing with. This full moon could be really shining a light on, not needing to do everything yourself and it being okay to rely on another person or compromise with another person or negotiate or see things from a different perspective, because that is how you also get to know yourself and how you can also find ways to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing, right? So it's this kind of like two heads are better than one kind of energy, right? Now, on top of it, this full moon could also be really pointing out a sore spot or some vulnerabilities or some insecurities that you have with this, right? With this excessive need to maybe like prove yourself or do things on your own or be super independent or be first or whatever the case may be, or even to be liked by others or even to be approved of by others, right? This full moon could definitely be bringing some of that to light. It's like, hey, look, you don't got to do all of this completely on your own. You can actually, move forward in the way that you want and allow things to be balanced out with other people or come to some kind of agreement or come to some kind of peace or negotiation with other people or with your partner or with a relationship in your life, right? Now, this is really huge because you've been dealing with a lot in terms of things going on behind the scenes in your life, your subconscious patterns, self-undoing patterns, old habits, escapism, things that are going on subconsciously. And Venus here being the ruler of this full moon in your 12th house, it's like, this full moon in a way is also shining a light on your 12th house and your 7th house, where you have patterns of kind of undoing yourself. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, this could be for some Aries rising, showing you where you have a habit in relationships of repeating some vicious cycle that's getting you nowhere, that's actually working against yourself, and that you need to heal the wound within you that repeats this pattern if you want to move forward or if you truly want to have more better quality relationships in your life, or if you truly want to honor your values with yourself and within relationships, right? This, for some of you, this could be needing to hear another person out instead of doing it your own way, right? Another person or something outside of you could actually be reflecting back to you certain wounds that you have. Right now is a very, very high time for projection and mirroring. So whatever's going on around you is all connected and it's all mirroring back to you a core wound that you may have within yourself related to your identity, related to yourself, your body, your own ability to take action and express yourself and do things and your own sense of independence, right? And where this may come from a certain level of safety or security or childhood or your parents or your family, with Mars being in the 4th house of Cancer. At the very end degree is about to step into Leo and oppose Pluto again, right? And so this is a time where you are wrapping up these identity wounds and really learning how to transmute them and heal them and release them to bring more peace into your life within your own self and with your relationships, right? Where you're either letting go of fear of how other people see you, or you're letting go of these patterns of feeling like you need to be hyper independent and do everything on your own and not allow there to be a balance or a compromise or a middle ground or peace found within relationships, right? And so this is kind of what I see coming up for you guys for this full moon. Let me know down below, Aries risings, if that resonated and what you are noticing come up for this full moon. I would really, really love to hear it down below for you guys, definitely. And if you missed the beginning of this video, go back and watch it because you're going to relate to it, especially with how your chart is set up. It's going to give you a lot more context and go even deeper and show you a lot more of what's going on here and help you relate to this full moon in a way more ways. Okay, so definitely go back and watch that and comment down below sexy Aries rising if you stayed till this point. I appreciate you. Alrighty, moving on to Taurus rising. So for Taurus risings, this full moon is happening in your 6th house. And so this definitely looks like potentially some kind of agreement, middle ground, or peace that is being kind of struck here in terms of your health, job, wellness, and day-to-day routines. This could definitely be with you being a Venus ruled sign as well. This could also have to do with your own health, body appearance, identity, and sense of self-expression in some way. And also other people, friend groups, alliances, acquaintances, aspirations, dreams, what you want in the world, your place in the world, and who you fit in with. Organizations, networking, marketing, any kind of groups that you belong to or like-minded people that you kind of hang around, that is definitely also getting brought up into this as well, since Venus is in your 11th house with Saturn, right? These are like long-term commitments, decisions, and karmic ties that are kind of coming up and being evaluated here. Also, with this full moon in your 6th house, it's like maybe if there's been and kind of like what I just said for Aries with you guys as well, if you've had these subconscious wounds and patterns and insecurities and cycles of self-undoing where you are constantly like hibernating or withdrawing or feeling like you need to do things on your own or figure things out on your own, right? This Libra full moon could be coming in to say, hey, it could be balancing that out where it's like you don't have to do it all alone, or you can ask for help, or you can involve others in your work, wellness, day-to-day routines, self-care, whatever the case may be, right? Health, regimen, like whatever, right? And so it's kind of like finding like-minded people, and in a way it's almost like healing to your soul and helps you kind of balance these things out. Now, this full moon can also be showing you where you're out of balance in terms of your health and your wellness and habits, addictions, certain cycles or subconscious patterns that are keeping you out of balance and that aren't really in alignment with your truth and the truth of what you want your day-to-day life to look like when it comes to self-care, work, and your duties and responsibilities. So that could also be the case for some of you as well. Okay, so this full moon can be somewhat tense. It is squaring Mars in your 3rd house, bringing in this emotional intensity, but also this need to balance things out on like an objective, classy, gracious level, or to find peace with something. And so there can be like some emotions or some tensions or some issues that are going on or challenges coming up with your environment, siblings, extended family members, and again, potentially your lifestyle and your day-to-day routines with the 3rd and 6th house being involved here. Communications and also, potentially like movement, like something like the way I'm kind of thinking about it is like maybe for some of you, like this could be that like your job has, kind of expected a lot out of you or expected you to maybe like travel a lot more or do a lot more things. And this full moon is coming in to say like, hey, you're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to speak your truth. Like maybe if you can't do that or you're not happy with doing that anymore, there is a way that you can go about this that is gracious and that can still keep the peace in your life, right? And so anyways, this could also be about some of you guys kind of feeling like you no longer relate with certain people or certain groups of people and finding out like that, you are changing who you relate with or what kind of dreams for yourself and for your life and for your job and for your health and wellness, like changing what that looks like. So let me know down below, Taurus risings, what you guys are noticing for this Libra full moon. And if any of that resonates at all, I'd love to hear your feedback on what's going on for you guys with this one. And if you missed the beginning, you are missing out. You're definitely going to want to miss, you're definitely not going to want to miss this one. So definitely go back and watch the first half of the video. And also comment down below, sexy Taurus rising, if you stay till this point, because you are. And we are going to move on to Gemini risings. For Gemini risings, this full moon, I keep feeling like there's like something in my eye and it is pissing me off. But this full moon is happening in your 5th house of your love life, your children, your hobbies, and romance. This will be a very great full moon to kind of dive back into kind of the beauty of love and the beauty of your relationship. If you're not already doing that, like going on a date night or going to an opera or, you know, something like that. This would be a really great full moon to do that with, or, you know, something like kind of fancy and elegant and, you know, all of that. Great full moon to do that with. But although it could bring up some emotions, some tears, some old wounds as well, with the sun conjunct Chiron and the full moon squaring Mars, it could hurt your bank account or your sense of emotional security and comfort a little bit. But still, nonetheless, it can also bring a sense of peace, balance, and harmony back into your love life if it's felt a little dry there. But it can also bring in some closure regarding maybe an old project, an old hobby, something that, you know, you loved or were passionate about at one point that is now kind of coming to a close or even expiring, or even something new that is starting to come in or reintroducing you to something that you've already done before that you've kind of put on the back burner in some way, as Venus and Saturn are conjunct in your 10th house in Pisces. And so your career, life direction, long-term goals, achievements, and wants and aspirations in life are really involved here. You've been thinking a lot about your future and what you want out of life and where you're headed in your life and what your true dream is for your life, what you really want from the bottom of your soul about your life. And this Libra full moon is like coming in to reveal more pieces of the puzzle, more clarity revolving around your truth for where you find beauty, where you find passion in life again, where you find an equilibrium in life and including with others as well. Alrighty, and so that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Gemini risings. Comment down below, sexy Gemini rising, if you watched until this point, and let me know how that resonated and what you are noticing coming up for this full moon. I'd love to hear your feedback and hear what you guys are seeing. And if you missed the first half of this video, you're missing literally the best part of this video. It's going to go over so much and you'll relate to a lot of different things in there about this full moon. So definitely go back and watch that if you skipped ahead. And we're going to move on to Cancer risings. So for Cancer risings, this full moon's happening in your 4th house of your home, family, personal life, private life, your behind the scenes life, but also your past, your foundations, your ancestry. So this full moon is definitely bringing up something to do with your home life in general, your private life, your personal life, right? Like there's been a massive, massive focus on your career, but also your education, your long-term visions, and your belief systems over the last several months now. And this full moon is coming in to kind of add a missing ingredient from your life. And it's like, hey, maybe, you know, I know that you're like thinking about your future, moving forward, moving ahead and all of that, but it's like we need to balance out something going on with the home and family. It's like we need to find some kind of peace with something going on here. Maybe an agreement finally is made, or a negotiation or a middle ground is finally struck with a family situation in some way or another. It's like, you know, balancing something out, finding the balance in a home and family situation, or getting very honest about a home and family situation that's been going on. It's like something's being revealed in your personal life, okay, right now with this full moon. And it likely relates to your higher vision for your life, or travel, education, your beliefs, and, you know, your vision for where you want to go in life in some way, shape, or form. And this woman is also squaring Mars in your sign. So you may be a little bit emotionally reactive to whatever this full moon reveals or brings up. It may trigger you or may trigger some emotions in some way, shape, or form, or make you not feel make you feel kind of emotionally uncomfortable or in some way, shape, or form. But whatever comes up, do remember with this Libra full moon, this is a mirror, and the moon rules Cancer. So the moon rules your 1st house, right? And so it's like whatever emotions that get triggered around this full moon are meant to come up for a reason, right? You're seeing through some insecurities, some wounds, some kind of touchy stuff that's coming up, some tender stuff that's coming up, so you can heal, release this, and find more equilibrium and harmony in your life. And that's really what this is about. Okay, so let me know down below, Cancer risings, if that resonated and what you are noticing come up around this time. Go back and watch the first half of the video if you missed it, because you are definitely missing out on a lot if you missed the first half of this one. Okay, so go back and watch that. Also, comment down below, sexy Cancer rising, if you stayed until this point. I appreciate you. Alrighty, my fellow Leo risings. Welcome to this Libra full moon. It is happening in our third house. And so far, what I have really noticed about this Libra full moon happening in the third house is this really deals with our voice, right? Our truth and the truth of our voice, finding that middle ground between the heart and the head, and what we know versus wisdom, and how to really kind of go about speaking our truth and speaking our wisdom into the world, right? And in the environments that we are in. This is a very, very significant time because Venus, right around the time of this full moon, is turning direct and basically almost conjunct Saturn. So this is a time where we are cleaning out old karmic debts and about to move forward in really, really, really big new significant ways. There are massive karmic endings happening here with relationships, with the past, with old karmic debts, old energetic debts and exchanges, old karmic ties to other people and situations and social dynamics and all kinds of different things, right? So relationships are very much the name of the game at this time, but also the relationship with ourselves, right? And where we hold ourselves in, or compromise our own voice, or compromise our own opinions, or compromise who we are on a day-to-day basis, and how that's keeping us back, holding us back from moving forward towards our visions, or voicing what we believe, or owning and embodying what we believe on a large scale, and doing the things that we want to do in our lives. This full moon's definitely bringing up some potential wounds, some soft spots and tender moments, and potentially subconscious emotional stuff and subconscious emotional patterns of safety, security, and, emotional comfort to the surface, so we can finally deal with these things. It's like, if you missed the first half of the video, you need to go watch it right after watching this, because you're going to relate to it, since I'm a Leo rising and it came from my perspective. So, if you missed the beginning, I talked about different places where we have been feeling silent, or different places in our lives where we haven't really been true to ourselves, or actually being ourselves, where we've been potentially wearing a mask, or performing, or editing who we are to kind of compromise or fit into situations in our lives, or where we've edited our voice, or not really said the things that we've needed to say, or we've been holding certain opinions or truths in, because out of safety, security, or keeping the peace in certain situations, fears around being outcasted, rejected could be coming up, all of these different things. And it's we have this, vision that's forming, and this mission that we're remembering that we want to move forward on, but we can't do that if we are stuck in comparison, if we are stuck in trying to hold in our truth, if we are stuck in not fully stepping into who we are in some way and allowing ourselves to be seen, which is what so much of Mars moving back into Leo here soon is going to be about. Okay. But it's this is coming back into balance with something in our lives that affects us on a day-to-day basis, and that is a part of our day-to-day environments. It's we're coming back into peace with something that maybe has been a little bit out of whack. For some people, this could literally be your mindset. For some people, this could literally be a certain situation in your life, your job, how you go about your life on a day-to-day basis. It's something is really clicking here. For others, it could be your voice and how you've been using your voice, or how you've been suppressing your voice, and the things that you want to say, or the things that you want other people to know. Fears of being misunderstood, all of these different things could be coming up right now in different ways for different ones of us. So let me know down below, Leo risings, how you are noticing that this come up and what you are noticing so far. I'd love to hear your feedback down below, and comment down below, sexy Leo rising, if you watched till this point, because you are. And also, if you missed the first half, go back and watch it, because you're missing out, like I said. Okay. So moving on to Virgo risings. Last but not least, Virgo risings, this full moon's happening in your second house of finances. And so this is kind of a time where you have been charging forth to get shit done for yourself financially and with certain karmic situations and entanglements that you have in your life right now, certain potentially even financial conflicts or karmic conflicts, internal or energetic conflicts, whatever they may be with Aries in your 8th house. You've been trying to move forward to make certain changes in your life, right? This Libra full moon is coming in to kind of come back to a sense of harmony, peace, calmness, and balance in your life after all of the charging forth, right? It's like a kind of reminder of like, hey, it's okay to compromise some, or it's okay to find peace with a certain tense confrontational situation that you've been going through. Or, hey, it's okay to not do everything on your own. It's okay to kind of accept some kind of help from other people in some way, shape, or form, right? And so this Libra full moon is kind of like, you know, you finding some kind of internal peace with certain situations regarding others, and they could involve finances or just a general sense of giving and receiving with other people in some way, okay? Or some kind of karmic situations. It's kind of like you don't need to win every fight to win the war kind of thing, right? And plus with Venus here in your 7th house conjunct Saturn, and Venus going direct, it's like something is expiring, something is falling away to do with relationships, to do with other people, to do with certain entanglements. It's like something is really moving directions here after this full moon and really shifting for forever. It's like something is ending and moving forward in a whole different way. Right around this time, it's like you're crossing some kind of threshold. You're moving beyond bounds. You're moving beyond what you thought was possible, and also reflecting on very big, serious topics regarding relationships, commitments, decisions, and long-term sacrifices, and letting go of a lot of old karmic debt that you no longer want to carry with you anymore. A lot of old karmic baggage, whether it be actually physical or emotional or internal or spiritual, whatever the case may be. It's like you've been letting go of a lot, right? And so with this being said, it's kind of like you coming to peace with something in some kind of way, you realizing the truth of what it is you feel and how that feels in regards to your own life, your own priorities, your own decisions, your own wants, your own needs, your own resources, right? And so that's really what I see coming up here for you, Virgo risings. Let me know down below how this Libra full moon has felt for you so far, what you're noticing, if any of that resonated or hit home for you. And also, if you missed the first half of this video, you're going to want to watch that because it gives a lot more breakdown of this full moon and what it's going to mean for you in a lot more specific ways, okay? Like that's the part that is literally like the whole juice of this video that you don't want to miss, because I go over all the different ways this is going to play out. And so a lot of those ways you're likely going to relate to, and it's going to give a lot more context behind all of this. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, Virgo risings. Comment down below, sexy Virgo rising, if you watched until this point, because you are. And I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys in the next one.